On the morning of March 12, 2025, my son-in-law sat across from me at the old oak table my husband built with his own hands. He folded his arms like he was closing $1 million deal and said, "Evelyn, let's be real. This house is killing you." I was 62 years old. I had spent 34 years as an ER nurse at Galveston University Medical Center, holding hands through code blues, whispered goodbyes, and the terrible silence that follows a flatline. I had buried my husband 2 years earlier, and kept this 1920s bungalow on Sewell Boulevard standing through 3 hurricanes and 1 broken heart. But that morning, in my faded blue robe with coffee going cold in the Mother's Day mug he'd given me, I looked at the man my daughter married and whispered, "You're right, Ryan. I'll figure something out." 4 months later I stood barefoot on the warm deck of my oceanfront condo in South Padre Island, the Gulf of Mexico glowing gold under the sunrise. I bit into a fresh shrimp taco, tasting salt, lime, and freedom, while my phone buzzed angrily on the railing for the 14th time that week. I let it ring. But I'm getting ahead of myself. My name is Evelyn Marie Harper. My late husband was Captain Daniel James Harper, Danny to everyone who loved him. We were married 38 years. He started as a shrimper on his dad's old boat and later built a small fleet and marine supply business that kept half the Texas coast alive. Danny laughed loud, planned quiet, and loved me steady as the tide. He died on Valentine's Day 2023. Pancreatic cancer. 6 weeks from diagnosis to goodbye. In that hospital room that smelled of antiseptic and fading hope, I held his hand the same way I'd held hundreds of others. This time the pain lived in my own chest. He left me our house on Sewell Boulevard. Or so I thought. It was a 4-bedroom beauty with wide porches, original hardwood floors, and views that made tourists slow their cars. Danny bought it in 1998. By 2025 it was worth well over $1 million. But I didn't care about the money. I cared about the morning light on the kitchen counter where Danny used to make my coffee, and the back porch where we danced to Old George Strait on Friday nights. Lauren, our daughter, was 36 when Danny died. She had his smile and my stubbornness. She married Ryan Caldwell in 2021, a commercial real estate man who wore too much cologne and always spoke like he knew what was best for everyone. He wasn't mean. He was worse. He was pleasant while he took your life apart piece by piece. They moved in temporarily in June 2025. "Mom, the market is insane," Lauren said in my kitchen, eyes shiny with practiced tears. "We just need 8 or 10 months. You're all alone in this big house anyway." The silence after Danny left had weight. I left the TV on just to hear voices. I cooked too much food for one person. "Of course, baby," I told her. "Stay as long as you need." They brought a 26-foot truck. Ryan claimed the biggest guest room as his home office. My mother's sewing machine went into the garage. The thermostat dropped from 74 to 68 because Ryan ran hot. My red beans and rice were pushed behind their kale smoothies. They paid $600 a month. The real cost was nearly $5,000. I said nothing. Family helps family, right? But the small things wore on me. The way Ryan would pat my shoulder and say, "Have you thought about downsizing, Evelyn?" The assisted living brochures Lauren left on the counter, just to look at. I learned the truth on a sticky Tuesday in late August. I came home early from the cardiologist, mild arrhythmia, nothing new for a woman my age, and heard Ryan's voice through the cracked office door. "Gulf views, historic charm. She won't fight it. Lauren's got her handled. Once she's in Sunset Villas, we list it. Cash buyers. We close fast. Then that smooth laugh. It's a kindness, really. At her age. My heart slammed against my ribs. I gripped the hallway wall Danny had patched after Hurricane Ike. For a second I couldn't breathe. Then something hard and cold settled in my chest. I slipped out, drove to the seawall, and sat watching the waves crash until the sky turned orange. I remembered Danny's words from his last clear days. Evie, if anyone ever tries to box you in, go see Frank Delgado. Tell him I said show you everything. The next morning I called Frank before they woke up. Mrs. Harper, he said warmly, I've been waiting for this call. In his office that smelled of salt air and old paper, Frank slid a thick folder across the desk. Danny had set up a revocable trust in my name only, back in 2018, when he first suspected something was wrong. Life insurance. Business proceeds. Patent royalties on a shrimp net design he created years ago. Investment accounts. All told, roughly $4.6 million. The house, paid off and titled only in my name, worth over $1 million more. I sat there stunned. All those years I clipped coupons and worried about the electric bill while my son-in-law planned my disappearance. Danny knew you'd give everything away if someone needed it, Frank said gently. He made sure you couldn't. I didn't tell Lauren and Ryan right away. I moved in silence. I hired a sharp financial advisor. I joined an online group called Gulf Coast Golden Girls and started talking to a widow named Rita down in South Padre. While Ryan took his calls and Lauren did yoga, I quietly packed the things that mattered, Danny's letters, my mother's rosary, our wedding quilt, and the little wooden shrimp boat he carved for our 30th anniversary. There were nights I doubted myself. I'd sit on the back porch and wonder if I was selfish, if I was abandoning my daughter, if I'd be lonely in a strange place. Then I'd remember Ryan's laugh on that phone call, and the steel came back. I listed the house off market. A retired doctor and his wife from Houston fell in love with it. They offered $1.075 million cash. I accepted before the broker finished speaking. Thanksgiving was hard. I cooked the full spread like always. Ryan talked market timing. Lauren showed me more brochures. After dinner I sat them down. I have news about the house. Lauren leaned forward, hopeful. Ryan looked satisfied. I found a place, I said. South Padre Island. Oceanfront condo. 3rd floor with a big balcony and Gulf views. The silence was deafening. Ryan recovered first. Evelyn, that's expensive. At your age. Them about the money, the trust, the phone call I had overheard, Ryan's mask finally cracked. Lauren cried. I let her. The house closes December 18th, I said. You have until then to find somewhere else. I walked out of the room with steady legs. Behind me, Lauren sobbed and Ryan whispered fast. On closing day I signed every paper with calm hands. When I stepped outside with the cashier's check, the Gulf breeze hit my face. I closed my eyes and breathed in deep. The weight I'd carried for years finally lifted. I moved into my condo on January 3, 2026. The first weeks were harder than I expected. I cried in the shower some nights. The silence felt different here, lonelier. I struggled with Spanish menus and fought the voice that whispered I had made a terrible mistake. But little by little, the island healed me. I walked the beach every sunrise. I joined the Golden Girls in person, 12 strong women, who laughed loud and shared their stories without shame. I learned to make proper ceviche. I brought my shrimp gumbo to a potluck, and watched grown women fight over the last bowl. In May, Lauren called. I let it ring twice before answering. She came for a visit with one suitcase and red eyes. When she stepped onto my balcony and saw the endless gulf, she started crying. Mom, it's beautiful. It's mine, I said simply. I fought for it. We walked the beach at dawn, ate too much seafood, and danced at a beach concert like no one was watching. One night she took my hand. I was awful to you, she whispered. You were, I agreed. But you're still my daughter. We'll work on the rest. It's July 2027 now. I'm 64 years old. I wake up to the sound of waves. My condo is paid for. My investments are growing. I live comfortably and still save money. The Golden Girls have become my family. Lauren calls every Sunday. She's doing better, therapy, a new job, real distance from Ryan. She's coming for Christmas. Some evenings I stand on my balcony, with a glass of wine and talk to Danny. You sneaky old captain, I whisper, smiling. You built me a door I didn't know I needed. To every woman who has ever sat at her own kitchen table while someone kindly explained why her life had become too much for her, hear me. You are not a problem to be solved. You are not a problem to be solved. You are not too old. You are not too late. The coast is still out there. Your own quiet place. Your own door. Open it. Walk through. It is not too late. I promise you, from this sun-warmed balcony on South Padre Island, with the Gulf singing below, it is not too late.